Hey everyone, welcome back. You guys have sent in a really wild collection of tech news this week, September 29th, 2024. Mark it down, folks, because it was a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's incredible how much happened in just one day, right? And from music streaming to open source software, it feels like every story has these huge implications.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into it. One of the biggest surprises for me was this whole YouTube and CSAC clash. Adele, Bob Dylan, even Green Day caught in the middle of it. What's the deal with that? What's the big deal for, the average person who loves music?
Well, it all boils down to how artists get paid in the streaming world, right?
Yeah.
SysFact, they're this giant music rights organization. They handle licensing, royalty payments, all that for a huge chunk of the music industry. And they're basically saying YouTube's shortchanging them, not paying fairly for all the music on their platform. So is this like a power struggle over who controls, like, the money behind online music?
Yeah, you could say that, but it goes deeper too. It's about whether artists, especially those repped by CSAC, can actually make a living in a world where everyone's streaming. Like if this goes on, or even worse, other platforms do the same thing, it could really hurt the whole music industry.
That's a great point. It's easy to forget that there's this whole other side to our favorite music being a click away.
Totally. And it's not like this just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Music's always been trying to adapt to new tech, right?
Yeah.
Finding that balance between like innovating and making sure artists get paid fairly.
Speaking of adapting, we also saw the folks behind Elasticsearch, the data platform, make a big move. They went back to an open source model. But doesn't that seem kind of counterintuitive? First, artists might be losing a platform, and now a company is giving up control. What's the bigger picture?
I think it shows just how much tension there is between open source and proprietary software. Open source is all about transparency, working together. Anyone can use the code, change it, share it, whatever. That's amazing for innovation, but it also makes it tougher to actually build a business around it.
Right, that makes sense. So why would a company like Elastic go back to open source after having a proprietary model?
It's a gamble for sure. They're probably hoping that by opening up the code again, they'll get more developers involved, speed up the improvements, and end up with a better product overall. But it's tricky. They still got to find a way to, make money and stand out in a market that suddenly got a lot more crowded.
So it's a risky move. Could really change the game for software development, right? Especially for someone like you who's always up on the newest apps and platforms.
Oh, yeah. Raises so many questions. Like, will we see more open source stuff coming back?
Yeah.
Or will companies keep things closed off? It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
All right, let's shift gears a bit here. We got to talk about Meta. It seems like they're always making headlines, and this week is no different. The thing that really stood out to me was the news about their new AR glasses, Orion. I mean, it seems like everyone and their brother is trying to make AR glasses happen, but something tells me this is different.
Yeah, you're picking up on something important. We've seen AR glasses before, sure, from Meta and others. But Orion, it feels like a really step forward.
So what makes them so special? What sets them apart?
Think about it. What if you had glasses, everyday glasses, that could blend the digital and real world seamlessly? Seeing information pop up over your view, like directions, or even just knowing who you're looking at without asking.
Okay, yeah, now that sounds like something straight out of sci-fi. What's the tech behind Orion that makes it so different from those other AR things we've seen?
It's a whole bunch of things working together. You've got advanced sensors, really powerful processors, and then the software that ties it all together. Meta's been pouring resources into this thing they call spatial computing. It's all about helping devices like Orion understand the physical world like in real time. So the glasses, they can actually track where you are, recognize objects, and then just blend those digital images right into what you see naturally.
So it's not just like slapping some text onto a display. It's like actually understanding the context of what the user's doing, what they're seeing. That's wild. But Meta's not just stopping there, right? We also saw Zuck is jumping headfirst back into this whole AI race. They released their updated AI model, Llama 3.2. Is this too much at once? Or is there some kind of master plan here?
See, Meta's got competition, and it's fierce competition, from Google, from OpenAI. Google's been doing some really interesting stuff with AlphaChip as this AI-powered chip designer, totally shaking things up on the hardware side. And their Gemini AI. That thing is evolving constantly. Then you have OpenAI. Yeah, they've had some internal shakeups, Mira Murati stepping down as CTO, but they're still a major player in the AI game. Meta's got to be strategic. Seems like they're trying to dominate on all fronts. They're going all in on AR as the next big computing platform. But at the same time, they need to be pushing AI capabilities to drive those experiences. It's a two-pronged approach.
It's like they're playing 3D chess while everyone else is still stuck on checkers, huh? But what does it all mean for the average person? Are we just watching a tech giant showdown, or is this going to filter down and actually change our lives?
This is the thing about AI, especially with these language models like Llama 3.2 and Google's Gemini. They're getting so sophisticated, so fast, it has the potential to change everything. How we work, how we learn, even just how we talk to each other. We're way past faster search results or better recommendations now. Think about it. What if AI could actually understand you, have a real conversation, help you with complex tasks, write creatively, even personalize your education?
It's exciting, sure, but it's also a little, I don't know, a little freaky, right? Like, are we ready for all this?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And it's not just about the tech itself, but how we handle it, how we make sure it's used responsibly. And that's where things get really interesting. This week in California, the governor, he went and vetoed this huge AI bill. Could have been the first of its kind nationwide. But at the same time, he signed a new law. And get this, it's all about protecting people's brain data.
Wait, hold on. A law for brain data? Are we living in a Black Mirror episode or something? What does that even look like in real life?
It does feel kind of futuristic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that's where we are, right? Brain-computer interfaces are getting more advanced, and suddenly we have to figure out this whole new set of rules, ethical stuff, legal stuff. This California law, it's basically them trying to get ahead of the curve. Like, before it gets out of hand, let's set some ground rules for how this super sensitive data can be used, collected, shared, all of that. It shows that people are realizing this isn't sci-fi anymore. Our thoughts, our feelings, even our subconscious stuff, it's all getting tangled up with the digital world.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. So on one hand, we're pushing boundaries, innovating like crazy. But then on the other hand, we've got these huge questions about privacy, about security, even just the possibility of someone, taking advantage of this tech. How do we even start to make sense of all this?
Yeah, it's a tightrope walk, that's for sure. No easy answers. But these conversations, these debates, they're crucial. They force us to ask, what does it even mean to be human when tech is shaping so much of our lives? What are the limits of what we're okay with digitizing? When does augmentation become alteration? Those are questions we're going to be wrestling with for a long time as we keep exploring this new territory.
Right. With great power comes great responsibility, or whatever they say. And speaking of responsibility, we can't forget about the human element in all of this. Like with that Caroline Ellison case, the FTX executive, she got sentenced to 2 years, right, for her role in that whole crypto mess. It's a reminder that the tech world isn't all sunshine and roses. Sometimes it's just the same old human mistakes, but with higher stakes.
Exactly. Now, Ellison's case, it's more about financial fraud, sure, but it does highlight something important. We get so caught up in the excitement of the next big thing, we forget that tech isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for, not so good things. It's on us, all of us, to figure out the ethics, set the boundaries, and hold people accountable when they cross a line.
So looking at everything we've covered today, music licensing wars, open source software making a comeback, those wild AR glasses, AI just advancing at warp speed, what's the biggest takeaway? What do people really need to remember as they try to keep up with all this?
Stay curious. Stay informed. And don't just take things at face value. The tech world is like a moving target, always changing. And the benefits, the risks, they change right along with it. Ask questions, even the uncomfortable ones. Challenge what you hear. And keep talking about this stuff. Keep the conversation going. That's how we figure it out together.
And I love that. Stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged. That's good advice for tech and, honestly, for life in general. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. This has been, this has been a lot. And for everyone listening, keep exploring these topics. Keep asking those tough questions. Until next time.